happy about this opportunity because I'm going to be telling you today that cybersecurity is a space that is for everyone. And with the way technology is going, everything we do right now is over the internet, or right now we're talking to each other. I'm sure people are logged in from all parts of the world. I'm from Canada, in Toronto. I'm sure Esther is logging in from, a location as well. So basically, we're able to communicate with each other because we're leveraging on technology. So in the coming years, we're going to keep, replacing more reliance on technology. And the more we do this, what happens is the security threat landscape is getting wider. So organizations are going to keep looking for cybersecurity specialists to help secure their digital systems, their customer information, and all those sensitive information. And right now, there's a huge talent shortage within the cybersecurity space. I want to see more women in cybersecurity because right now, in fact, all of my life, most of the departments I've worked in, I'm always like maybe one of the few ladies or maybe the only lady. So it will be good to see more people that look like me, more women in the cyberspace. And of course, I'm married with kids and I love dancing. So to anybody here that loves music and dancing, we're together on that.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. And I love the fact that, you really want to see more women win in that space. So before we go into the question, I was going through, our interview the other day. You can see some of the asset materials that I created. And that's because I was quite fascinated by some of the things you said, especially the part of your father. Taking those baby steps, not knowing where it was going to lead at the time, but here we are today. So I want to say, how much influence did your father have on you, as an engineer, as a techie, and of course, as a woman who knows exactly what she wants to do in the world?
So a lot of influence. Like all my life, I have always wanted to be an engineer. And that's because I come from a long line of engineers. My father is an engineer, a mechanical engineer, and he used to test newly built vehicles for Volkswagen. So in terms of wanting to pursue a career that is not predominantly known to be done by women, that's something I've always wanted to do. Now, in my quest to become an engineer was how I arrived at computer science. So from mechanical engineering, I then thought of petroleum engineering. If everybody can recall, there was a time that there was a boom in petroleum engineering. Everybody wanted to be a petroleum engineer. Everybody wanted to work in Shell, basically. Yeah. So if you remember that period, and then from there, I moved to petroleum engineering. And then when I was going to get into the university, for certain reasons, I changed to computer science. As at then, cybersecurity was not even a thing. I mean, when I was even getting into computer science, I'm like, whatever. Do you guys have petroleum engineering? No. What's the closest? Let me move into computer science. And it's been fantastic since then. I have no regrets whatsoever.
Amazing. That's such an influence. And, it goes to show that sometimes the things we as parents do in front of our children, we don't even know how much, influence and impact it's going to have on them. So you're here, and I'm really, really excited that, you can see the impact and the confidence in what you do. The other question is, what inspired you? You've talked about your background. You've talked about the passion for the work that you're doing. But what inspired you to actually start Winfinite Consulting?
Okay, that's a very good question. So I'm just going to digress a bit. So I studied computer science, and then I moved into security architecture. And then I got into consulting, and I started working in, the security assurance space. So there I was doing a lot. I was, doing a lot of pen testing, revenue assurance, technology assurance. And then I moved to Canada. And luckily, I was able to get a job in less than 1 month.
Wow.
That was not the same for a lot of my friends. You know how it is. When you move to a new country, even people you were not really close with back home, as long as you guys find yourselves in a strange land, you guys become automatic best friends. So chatting with all of these people, they were struggling. And you know how it is abroad, right? There are bills, you have to pay your bills, right? So we got talking, and I'm like, okay, guys, you know what? There are actually a lot of open opportunities in this field. So is this something you'll be looking at doing? And they were like, yes. So we started very informally. In fact, we started on WhatsApp. So after work, we talk, we chat, weekends. And again, they were all guys. Funny enough, because it's mostly guys. Like most of my career, I've been working with mostly guys. And then we started. One of them actually lives in the US. And then he got his first job. And a few weeks after, he messaged me that he has gotten his job, that if I could do this for him, that, there are other people. So that's how we started. And then we started growing, bigger. And then it got to a point that it was becoming too much, right? Because it was just like a hobby at the very beginning. People call me, send their resume. And, when you just land in a new place, a lot of people, do great things for you. And you just want to pay it forward. So that was another reason. And most of my friends were either accountants, lawyers, and then they keep complaining about, I need to write CPA, I need to do this. I'm like, why are you guys even stressing yourselves? Like in technology, we don't do CPA, we don't do ICANN. You move from maybe Nigeria to Canada, you get here and they tell you that, ICANN is only for Nigeria. For you to be successful as an accountant here, you need to do CPA. So that can really be frustrating. And then out of that, frustration, wanting to pay your bills, a lot of people were getting into manual jobs. They were not happy. So that was how it started. And then slowly, we started getting bigger. And then, we formalized it. And then Winfinite Consulting became a thing. So that way I could touch more lives, not just people that I know personally.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I love the fact that, you sort of like talked about the baby steps. I always love to, know where did you start from? Because nobody arrived at that successful junction. So thank you for that. So now you've talked about, the challenges, even within your own circle and talking to your friends about cybersecurity. What were some of the challenges you personally had, encountered when you started your organization? How did you navigate it?
Well, that's a loaded question. Now, because I work in the industry, so I work 9 to 5, I believe my biggest issue was around, working 9 to 5 for an organization and then having your own business on the side. You sort of need to declare conflict of interest. You need to be careful what you say, how you say it, because you don't want what you say to affect the brand of the company you work for. Right? Now, I'm going to leave it at there, but that was my biggest issue. So I kept on wondering, should I tell my boss about this? Do I want to do this behind the scenes? What will be the implication? In as much as I want to have Winfinite Consulting, I'm growing up, like my wish was I wanted to get to the peak of my career. I wanted to be the kind of person that when I go for any, maybe session or conference, I have like a very long, how when they're introducing people and they say this person is this, so that's how I've always wanted to be. So I'm like, okay, I want to build this brand, but I still want to remain in the industry because there's still so much more I can do in the industry. So that was my biggest issue. For a long time, people will reach out to me and I'll be like, I'm so sorry, I can't do this because I currently work for an organization. So after a lot of back and forth, I then had a conversation with my manager to say, this is what is going on. This is what I'm doing. And I was proactive enough to let him know that due to ABCD, whatever I'm doing outside is not going to affect my performance or my delivery. And of course, I'm not going to be using the organization's brand. Now, as soon as I got that roadblock out of the way, oh my goodness, I can tell you that things have turned around 360 degrees. Now, the fantastic thing is any organization I'm working for, in fact, most organizations now, at the point of applying for the job, they would ask you, do you have an outside business activity? So once I declared all of that, the rest, as they say, is story. It's history. So
thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people don't understand, especially in Western world, conflict of interest. I always try to explain to Nigerians, my people back, I'm like, listen, it's different here.
Yes.
You can work with GT Bank and any other bank at home, and then you can also maybe on the side, you're maybe like advertising for a microfinance. They don't care because at the end of the day, you're but here it's different because the conflict of interest is spelled out from the contract. Like these are the things. So I like the fact that you're putting this out there for folks to also understand the dynamics of what the job looks like. Now, there are people who want to go into cybersecurity and they're quite concerned. Some people feel like for them to be able to be part of, what you do, your industry, they need to have a background in tech. And that is one thing I want you to clear up today. So what do people need to have to join the cybersecurity industry?
Okay, that's a fantastic question. So what I would say is what you really need is determination, interest, persistence, right? A lot of people just say that, okay, so I was watching a video yesterday about two people digging for water. And then on the right-hand side, the well was very shallow. So the water was not a lot. So as soon as the person pumped, the person was able to fill up his bucket. Now, the other person had a deeper well with much more resources. This person, pumped. And because he couldn't get water immediately, he moved over to the other person's lane. But because the well was shallow, so the water had dried up. So again, what you need is the heart, interest. Is this something I'm interested in? What do I need? Right? Am I willing to go all the way? It's a journey. A lot of people also, there's this myth or belief that transitioning is like magic, is overnight. Just wake up one morning, decide that I want to go into cybersecurity, pay for training, and then I get a job immediately. No, it doesn't happen that way. So as long as you know what you're getting into and you have that interest. So whenever you even feel discouraged, you remember the why. Why am I transitioning? Yeah. Is this something that aligns with what I believe in? Is what does the future of professional work hold? Right? Even if you don't get into cybersecurity as a career, whatever profession you do, you need to understand technology. You need to know how to leverage artificial intelligence or cybersecurity or technology to be more efficient or more productive in whatever you do. So basically, you do not have any proud tech experience. Well, no problem. The good thing is, in the Western world, right, it's really different from what happens back home. Here, you come in, new page, you start afresh. Whether you don't have any prior IT experience, nobody really cares about that. What they really care about is, are you able to demonstrate during the interview that you have what it takes to add value? At times you go for interviews, they ask you technical questions. At times they're even more concerned whether you'll be the right fit for that team. Would you be the right fit for the culture of that organization? So if you don't have any IT skills, no worries. As long as you're ready to learn, you're ready to, continuously adapt and be flexible. Even for those that studied computer science, I tell people when I studied computer science, there was really nothing like cybersecurity. If you really look at it, 15, 20 years ago, who went to school to study cybersecurity? Nobody. We all knew technology and we knew a bit of security. But over the years, because internet has exploded, everything right now is being delivered over a network. So that is how the cyberspace has grown. And we now have cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is one area that has come to stay. And the earlier you jump, into this wagon, the better. Either to be more productive or to pursue this as a career.
Amazing. And for those who want to join, they need to be determined.
Oh,
you need to be able to all the way for you if you want to really pitch a career, your bent in that sector. Because I wanted you to just point that out to folks. Like that determination. Yeah, so please go on.
Determination and persistence is key. Like I said, the session I just, ended a few minutes ago, it was the same conversation. Right? So these are newcomers. They're already going through the training. I think that program is funded by the government of Ontario. So the truth is a lot of organizations, company, government agencies are even sponsoring a lot of initiatives. But going through the training is just one of many other steps. You need to be proactive. If you attend that training and it teaches something, that's not the end. Security evolves so fast that before you wake up, There might be something new in the industry. You need to be able to upskill and follow up with the new trends within the cybersecurity industry. Now, when I say determination, if I look through, the people I've coached in the last 3 years, what I've noticed is in the first few weeks of starting any coaching session, I can tell you the people that are going to be able to get jobs quickly, because these people don't just stop at the end of the class. Once the class ends, they go above and beyond to do their research. The truth is, for you to be successful in the cyberspace, you need to have fantastic researching skills. Because guess what? Even when you work in the industry, things are going to be changing at a breakneck speed. Whatever training you've gone for in the past will not remain relevant. So you need to be able to keep up. Now, a lot of people want to give up. Like the story I was saying earlier, the guy gave up and moved over, but unfortunately, he wasn't patient enough. So you need to be determined. Without determination, without having that right mindset to say, this is not going to happen overnight. This is a journey, right? And there are going to be roadblocks. It's like a curve. At times, things look up. At times, you go for interviews, you proceed to the next level. It seems like, oh, you're going to get this job. But at the end, you don't get the job. Is that enough for you to say, oh, I'm getting out of this race? Definitely not. What it means for you is you need to go back to the drawing board. If I've done ABC in the last 2 weeks and it didn't work out well, then I need to re-strategize. Yeah. What can I do differently? Yeah. There's no way you can repeat the same steps and achieve a different result. Absolutely. And that is when networking comes into play. So look for people that are already in this field, people that are successful. Reach out to them either via LinkedIn. But before you reach out to these people, you yourself, you must have done your own homework, right? When you work for an organization, the first projects they give you, if you don't know anything about it, are you going to go to your manager to say, oh, I don't know about this? Or you want to go to Google first, see what you can find, and then based on that, go to your manager to say, I'm working on this. Based on my research, I've been able to get A, B, C, D. However, I still need some more clarification. Unlike you just go and you're like, oh, I want to do this, but I don't know where to start from, right? So you need to be proactive and you need to have that right mindset and determination. Determination is what is going to get you from zero to be successful in cybersecurity.
That's powerful. And I love the way, you broke that down, because it's imperative that folks know what they're getting into. Unlike those of us in the media, I always tell people writing is easy peasy. It takes a while for you to master some habits of writing, especially interviews and all of that. But then compared to things that are techy, it is either you are into it or you're not into it at all. So there is no in between. And, I love the way you put it once again. Who were some of the women, that inspired you? Some people must have inspired you when you decided to pitch your tent, either in the cybersecurity space or not. Just women that inspired you at the time, you started your journey.
Okay. So the people that have inspired me, they actually inspired me from the beginning, but when I was already on the journey. So I'll start with Ngozi Inwela, that lady. Oh my goodness. Anytime I have a conversation with my mom, we talk about her all the time, because for me, she's a woman and she is breaking barriers, things that, women have not achieved. And she's international, she's global, not just in Nigeria. So that is one lady that inspires me a whole lot. Now, about 2 years ago, I found out other ladies. So there's this lady, she's Olivia. She's the CISO of Equifax. She's an American. She's Black. She is, I just love her. She's very passionate about cybersecurity and she doesn't hide it, right? When you listen to her talk, she shares experience of, she became an executive very early, I think before she was 30, and she shares all the challenges she faced, which I can resonate with. So if she could do it, and she's where she is right now. So, what it's clear is it is possible. You can achieve whatever you set your mind to. So that's another fantastic person. Another lady that I really like is, Claudette. Yes, that's another lady. I was speaking to the Minister of Women Affairs in Ontario a few months ago at Brand Expo. And we got talking about cybersecurity. And she told me, do I know Claudette? I'm like, no. But she is also another cybersecurity, a big deal in cybersecurity. Apparently, they call her the queen of cybersecurity in Ontario.
I think I've met her before. I think I met her at the Afro Global. She received an award at the Afro Global TV. There was an award, she was one of the recipients, and yes, she's very passionate about it because she came with a with a vibe and a color like, listen, this is my thing. I love what I do. We need more women in this space. So yes, just to compliment what you're saying.
Yes, so that's another, beautiful lady that is doing really well in cybersecurity. So these three women, and again, I don't just look at cybersecurity because cybersecurity is cybersecurity. There's more to life outside cybersecurity. So these are the three people that motivate me. And of course, I have my mom. She motivates me every day in, day out, right? If there's any reason why I forget my why, okay, so that's another thing. For you to be successful, you need an anchor point. So whatever you feel like giving up, you need to go back to that anchor point. Who is going to ginger you, motivate you, remind you of your why? For me, that's my mom. So my mom the other day we're talking about cloud and she said something. I'm like, geez, you've embarrassed me. Please don't say this outside, right? I had to explain the concept of cloud computing to her. So again, for you to be successful, you don't necessarily have to just have a network of cybersecurity professionals because they will only be looking at the technical aspect. But for you to be successful, it goes beyond technical, especially as once you transition, your next step is how you can climb the ladder, right? For you to climb the ladder, nobody's looking at your technical skills anymore. It means you already have the technical skills. So you now, on top of your technical skills, you're now looking at people management, collaboration, your negotiation skills, right? So that's also very key.
Amazing. And, I love the way you talked about your mother being your anchor. I took a class once and they called that Power Sport. Okay. I don't know what the class is. One of those, coaching classes. And, the coach had said, it was an assignment. Go back home and come back and tell me what your power spots are. When you feel like giving up, days you are drained. Mention three people who, once you get on the phone with that person or once you see that thing, you are inspired to just keep going. So thank God that, you have your mom to always, check in with you to say, yo, don't give up.
Yeah, you cannot afford to. This is where you need to be. You're still on your way, right?
Yes.
You can do it. See, the truth is, to be successful in cybersecurity, everything is technical. Sometimes you just need somebody to ginger you, right? Somebody that will tell you, you can just give you words of encouragement. And trust me, you will be able to continue on this journey.
Amazing. And, for those who joined or are going to watch, who want to explore your services at Infinite Consulting, how should they go about it? What are the services that you offer? And how can people, navigate that, and of course, connect with you?
Okay, so they could visit our website. It's www.winfiniteconsulting.com. I'm also very active on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn. So my name on LinkedIn is Fola Adegoke. And on Instagram, my handle is Winfinite Consulting. Okay, so those are the ways to reach out to me. So either via LinkedIn, via Instagram, or via our website. Or you could even send me an email. info@winfiniteconsulting.com.
So that's the website. I just popped it up on the screen for those who I'm sure that's a one-stop place for you. It's going to take you directly to either email Fola or a team or message her on Instagram, or however you want it. But what she shared today is you can start a career in cybersecurity. Fola, just before we wrap up the session, so I just want to ask you, what are some of the lessons you have learned on the job? And how has it impacted you as a person?
Okay, so I'm just going to hold off on that question. Okay, so I just want to add a few more things to starting a career. So again, and I'm taking this from the last session I had. So a lot of jobs, of course, even entry-level jobs, and this is the most common question I get. With no prior tech experience, how do I then get into the industry? So one, at the minimum, you want to have undergone a training, either self-study or you sign up for a training or you go back to school, whatever works for you. But when you're making this, once you're trying to decide, what you need to think of is, where am I going to get practical or hands-on skills? That's very important. That's one. Secondly, because you have no prior IT experience, you now need to start thinking, what can I do? An easy way is to start working on security certification. So for entry level, there's certified in cybersecurity. It is free. It's at no cost to you. It's managed by ISC Squared. So if you just go online and type in certified in cybersecurity, you can sign up for the free self-paced training as well as the exam. But of course, it's, entry level. If you're looking to go into the technical cybersecurity area, an entry-level certification will be Conscious Security Plus. That's another good one. Now, of course, people don't like failing exams. So what I recommend to people is baby steps. Start with the easy ones. So if you feel like, you know what, I don't want to stress myself, which is the easiest exam in this whole world, you have ITIL. I don't think anybody has failed ITIL. The pass rate is over 90-something%, right? So ITIL is not just security, but it does cover security as well, a bit. Then you have CISM, Certified Information Security Manager. Now, this exam is not for entry level, but it's also difficult to pass. So a lot of people with no prior tech experience have written CISM and they've passed it. And the good thing is when you look at most cybersecurity jobs that you want to apply for, they would usually ask for one of these certifications. CISA, CISM, Series, CISSP. So think of which is the low-hanging fruit, which one is really easy for me to pass. CISM is one of it. And of course, you can pass through self-study. So if you're on a small budget, you don't have the money right now, but you want to start, then go take the free one, certificates in cybersecurity. Once you have the money, then you can consider CISM. Then you want to start building your technology portfolio, right? Because you have no prior tech experience. So what do? Look around you. You need to be very creative. Are there any internship opportunities that you can sign up for? Maybe it's free. They don't pay you. But you will need to sell yourself to that company. This is the value I'll be bringing. This is what I know about cybersecurity. This is how I help the organization, right? And in exchange, I will get hands-on experience from your firm. Another way is to look at what you call, there are some apps online or some platforms. For example, you have Try Hack Me. You have HackerOne. Facebook also has something similar. Google also has something similar. So what is CTF platforms? What they do is, some of them are like games. Some of them are like projects. You work on it and then they give you certificates. They even walk you through how to perform some of these, tasks. Maybe you want to do something around networking, you want to do applications, because again, it is very important that there are certain skill sets that you need to develop for you to be successful in the cybersecurity space. For example, you need to know networking. What are your networking protocols? What are your OSILA? At least basic. What is an operating system? We all use Windows on our laptop. What does it do? So at the minimum, those basic things, start learning. Even if it is, once a week, you want to go online, do your research, start something yourself, right? So I wanted to share that. And of course, once you build all of this, you can always add them to your resume, because the truth is, with no prior IT experience, no certification, to be difficult too. Possible, but it will be difficult. Do you want to go the difficult path when there is a less difficult path? Of course, once you follow all of this, you are also able to highlight what are your proud skills that you can leverage in the cybersecurity field. And from this conversation we've had, I've said a lot of things, and you can actually think back and say, okay, have I done this before? Maybe you were in customer care or you were an accountant, but in your department, when there are new employees within your team, you are the one who will send requests to IT to create those users. That is already you. Already, you can talk about user creation, access administration. So take, no matter how small it sounds, any activity you've done in the past with IT, you make sure you highlight all of those as your transferable skills on your resume. Now, we don't have enough time for me to complete all of this, but with these few nuggets I have shared, you can at least get started. Okay.
And that's why it's important for them to connect with you.
Yes.
So don't let it stop here. You know, the excellence of the program is not because of this, you know, light show alone. It's for you to take it a notch higher and connect with Fola. But then I can see some questions, if you don't mind, in the comments. Someone said,
and I've also not answered your question, Esther. Your question, I've actually not answered it.
Yeah, don't worry. We're going to come to that, you know, because of, you know, the people who joined in. So she said, what are the names of the certifications? Can it be spelled out? So I'm willing to do that. What are the names?
Sure. So you have certified in cybersecurity. The short name for that is CC. So if you just Google ISC2 CC or ISC2 certified in cybersecurity, that would pop up. And that's the free one.
Okay. So then, I hope... okay, yeah, please go on.
No. Do you want to type that first so that I don't go too fast?
Yeah, so let me type that on the screen for everybody to see, because I'm not able to type in the comments because of Facebook restrictions at this time. So please go on, Fola. What do you call it? CC?
Yes, certified in cybersecurity.
Certified. Okay, and what's the acronym for that?
So it's by ISC squared, or you do ISC2. So if you just go online and type ISC2 certified in cybersecurity.
ISC2. IS and E.
C for cats.
Okay. ISC2.
2, digit 2, yes.
Okay, all right.
And certified in cybersecurity, that's just going to pop up.
Okay.
So that's the free one. Then the other one, now again, cybersecurity is so broad. So before you start writing certifications, the first thing you might want to do is to narrow down the career paths in cybersecurity you want to pursue. Do you want to go into cybersecurity GRC? Do you want to go into the more technical side of cybersecurity? You want to be a cybersecurity analyst, a cybersecurity architect, security incident risk. So again, it's always best to know the specific part you want to pursue under cybersecurity before you start writing exams. Now, CompShare Security Plus is another one. So that is just CompShare, or you just put security and then plus symbol. So if you put that online as well, that will come up.
Okay, let me do this one first. So yeah, please go on.
Okay.
So it's scrolling on the screen right now, if you can see it. So I made it easy, but I'm going to update. Please go on, Fola.
So CompShare Security Plus, that's security with a plus sign. And then you can also consider CISM, Certified Information Security Manager. That's not really for entry level, but what it means is if you write that exam, you might not get your certificate immediately because you need to show that you have some years of experience. But you can at least pass the exam so you can have it on your resume so that your resume can pass through ATS. Then you also, if you're looking for the rock bottom exam that you are sure you will not fail, that is ITIL. Information Technology Infrastructure Library, ITIL. They have different versions. So it's all about IT service management. But because cybersecurity is now a part of everything, every domain in IT, it also covers a large part of cybersecurity.
That's powerful, man. The codes and the things you shared today. Girl.
We're talking about all these exams. If you search for one, the same information you will find in another one. The other one will just be slightly deeper.
It's like a ripple effect of, you know,
So no knowledge is lost. It's also going to help you as well.
Thank you for sharing that. She also asked, please also, what's the difference between a cybersecurity analyst and cybersecurity engineer? Okay.
So that's a good question. Now, I will start with cybersecurity analyst. So when you look at a lot of job descriptions, some of them say cybersecurity analyst, but okay, let me put it this way. At times when you look at 5 different job descriptions for cybersecurity analyst, it might differ from organization to organization. So basically, what you're doing is you're going to be analyzing a lot of systems. You want to make sure that these systems are secure. While a cybersecurity engineer is more in-depth, right? So if you think of the concept of what an engineer does, right? But in this case, you're only looking at it from the cybersecurity space. So this means you'll be working with your cybersecurity architects who have the cybersecurity blueprint of your organization. You'll be working closely with these people, and that's also part of what you'll be doing. So in every tool, in every software that you are designing, of course, you need to look at security by design. That's a huge concept you have to consider under cybersecurity engineer. So the best way to know the difference, right, is know it high level, but more importantly, for a lot of organizations, what they are looking for under cybersecurity engineer for company A might be slightly different from company B.
Thank you so much. I was trying to, the questions popping in from my Facebook inbox. So,
okay, so you need to look at that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to check in. So someone said, what does it take for one to get the service of your organization? So I am assuming what she's trying to know is the cost. If there's a cost to, maybe learning a course through Infinite Consulting, or exploring the opportunities, in your organization.
Okay, so it depends. We run 2 different cybersecurity programs. One is cybersecurity GRC, and then the other one is the technical cybersecurity program. So for the cybersecurity GRC program, it's 2,500 Canadian dollars. It runs for about 10 to 11 weeks. Now, the more technical one, so let me just differentiate a bit. So when I say cybersecurity GRC means governance, risk, and compliance. And under that, you have like so many career pathways. So if you're looking to become a cybersecurity, a risk advisor, if you're looking to become a maybe PCI DSS specialist, if you're looking anything around cybersecurity risk, governance, frameworks, threat risk assessments, you're looking at third-party risk management, you're looking at SOC. So there are 2 types of SOC. So the SOC I'm talking about now is Security Organization Control, not the other SOC, which is more technical, which is Service Operations Center. Now, for the other one, which is more technical, so it means you're looking at roles like cybersecurity crime analyst, cybersecurity forensics, security incident response specialist, cybersecurity engineering, more of those technical ones. That is a 12-month period, and that is 3,500 Canadian dollars. Now, aside from paid services, we offer some short coaching calls. So, and those are free of charge. So if you've started something, and maybe you just don't know how to proceed, your next steps, and you just have some, quick questions. So we have a free 15-minute coaching call. And if you need more than that, we also offer, longer coaching services, but they are paid.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that, because I wanted to understand, myself, the dynamics of the hierarchy, because I want to believe that people just don't go up. Like you said, you need to start from the baby steps. So she has mentioned the baby steps. Victoria Abba, I believe that you've gotten the answer. And for the person that sent me the inbox message, the most important thing for you guys is to connect with Fola after this conversation. Like she said, book a consulting session with her to explore, these courses on our platform. Listen, you got to learn how to invest in yourself. That's one of the things I tell people. There is no amount that is too much when you are investing in yourself. Sometimes the things you say you want to leave to next year, by next year, it's going to increase because the value of the person, the value of that thing would also increase. So Victoria Hab, I think she already got the answer she needs. So thank you so much for that. Now to the question that I asked you. So let's come back to that. before we wrap up. Yeah. So I think I'd asked you, I can't even remember the question again.
Even I cannot remember it.
That's what happens when you get
I
a lot
remember
of.
something about challenges I've faced in
Yeah.
my day-to-day.
No, I know you've actually, explained that to us. But you know what? The most important question that I would love to ask you is, what do you enjoy most about your job?
So what I love most about my job is the fact that I've learned so much, right? Because what I do involves me speaking to executives, technology leaders. I speak to system administrators, network administrators, cybersecurity analysts, engineers, programmers. So I can tell you that I have a deep understanding of how IT works, and not just, when you say IT, that term is very big. If you look at your organizations, all those systems they have, right? The systems are up and running, they are secure. Trust me, there are over 20 departments that are doing different things. There's the operations team, there's the backup team, you have your programming team, you have your firewall administrators, you have your IDS, your IPS, you have your GRC, you have the 3 lines of defense, you have the audit team. So the good thing about what I do is I've pretty much moved around, right? So I've moved in such a way that now I have a great understanding of all the moving parts. Because if you are only maybe a cybersecurity analyst, right? Then what you will really be concentrating on is monitoring your systems, your network, basically carrying out different activities to make sure that your organization is secure and there are no breaches, whether data breaches or system breaches, right? Or if you're a firewall admin, what it means is you're a subject matter expert on firewall, but you don't really understand all the other things people are doing. You're only in your own world, just firewall, TACAX, ACL list, all of that. But the good thing about what I do is I work with all of these people. So that is something I cannot trade for anything. Now, another thing is I am an advisor. So because of my infrastructure background, what I do is I meet all of these subject matter experts and I provide feedback to them based on what they do. And then I tell them, based on what you're doing, you are not addressing some cybersecurity risks. And these threats are being left unattended to. And this would be the results. So that's something. And the fact that, of course, I get to speak with management, right? That's another good thing. I get a seat at the table. So that's something I really love.
That's powerful, getting a seat at the table. Thank you so much for adding that. So I wanted to, sort of like ask you, how do you balance it all? I love when I speak with career women, and I love it when you can also manage the home. So what's your work-life balance routine like? Considering that you are in a sector that is predominantly, for men, basically. So how do you balance it all? How do you just find that balance as a career woman?
That's a loaded question. So I mean, in terms of my work-life balance, I would say it has had its up and downs. I've learned from mistakes and I am now intentional about my work-life balance. Now, the good thing is because my job is fully remote, like if I need to go into the office, I only go once in a month at most, right? So it gives me time with I think my kids are even spoiled because when I say I'm going into the office, they're like, why? Why? So in terms of work-life balance, what I do, typically when you work in the tech space, it's very easy. Well, it depends also on the area. If you're in operations, your work-life balance, I'm not sure about it because if there's an incident, if there's an issue, they're going to call you irrespective of the time of the day, right? But what I do gives me that work-life balance.
Good.
Yes. And this is also something I was intentional about because my previous job did not give me work-life balance. So again, everybody needs to think. Something needs to give. And this is also key. When you're pursuing a career, you want to make sure that the career path you're pursuing is the type that is going to give you work-life balance because you don't want drama. At the end of the day, although we spend most of our time working, family is still most important, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you
Mm-hmm.
grow old, you're still going to come back to this family.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
need to be intentional about prioritizing, your family. And of course, you don't want your work to suffer. So
Yes.
money, and of course, setting expectations, right? If you're getting a job, what time do they start? What time
Mm-hmm.
do they close? What
Mm-hmm.
works for you? And the good thing is this is Canada, right? If you have little kids, they need to know in the morning, maybe you need to take them to daycare or whatever. Be transparent. So what I've noticed for a lot of people is when they move to this world, the first thing you need to do is, you see that our mentality from back home, we need to just take off that hat. Because here, I mean, you have, as long as you're transparent, basically, there's no need trying to hide and killing yourself. Be transparent. Let your manager, whoever is managing you, your director, your VP, let them know what is going on. What they really care about is your deliverables, right? As long as you're pulling your weight, if you need to step out during the day or whatever you need to do, as long as you've carried them along, you will be fine. And of course, when you're also applying for jobs,
Mm.
as my people will say, shine your eyes, right? Don't be deceived by money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Money is good, but you don't want the type of money that you cannot even spend, because there's some money that even the time to spend the money is not there.
Mm.
So you need to make a deliberate, just be intentional,
Effort.
basically. But
Yeah.
for me, I can tell you, I have a fantastic work-life balance, and it
Good.
is intentional. It was not always like this, but I have paid my dues, right?
Yes.
There are
Yeah.
some jobs now that even if you offer me, unless the money is out of this world, right? But I have prioritized. And when I tell people, right, what
Mm.
is important to you, and then you prioritize based on that. And
Okay.
as long as you're also intentional, don't take more than you can
You can
deliver,
handle.
right?
That's
When
one
your
thing.
boss asks you, what is your turnaround time? Always add a buffer, right? It's
Mm.
better to turn in your work earlier than agreed than
Mm-hmm.
to give excuses.
Mm. That's powerful. Thank you for I mean, that alone is a TED talk. What you've just shared now is a TED talk, and I love the honesty in it, because truth is people forget that there are different phases to how you function as a person. So if the home, something has, like you said, something has to give, but you need to also create that balance. The balance is the home must not suffer. The children, the husband must not suffer in time and attention. In same vein, people pay you to work not for excuses. They pay for deliverables. They
Yes.
should be carried along. So to anyone who is also watching right now, don't try and go over and beyond if it is not convenient for you. And as long as you have the passion to you want to do this, make sure you also take care of the home first. I
Very
always tell people, I interviewed somebody recently, and let me just read some Bidemi Makmodi. And one of the things she said about parenting, she's quite multifaceted. She's a minister of God, she's a broadcaster. And she said, whatever didn't make room for me to play my role effectively as a mother, I put on the something to do in a later season of my life folder. I saw that part and it hit me hard. This is a woman who is very successful. And when I got talking with her, she had to expatiate. The kids are like 25 and 24, 21 now. She said, those sacrifices now I'm enjoying. But if
yes.
at the time I'd worked too hard in my old age now, or whatever age she is at this time right now, I might not be able to also function at the capacity of a parent, which is something we need to talk
True.
about all the time. So thank you so much for for sharing that. So just before we go, for women who might want to pitch their tents in the industry, who are still not, they are still trying to drag their feet on the floor. They have the passion, they have the tenacity. What would you say to them?
Well, what I would say to them is, one, believe in yourself. You can have it all. You can have a successful career. You can have a beautiful home. But as I said, something needs to give. So
Yeah.
maybe in trying to pursue a career, maybe you might need to outsource a few things based on your budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe when others are sleeping, you might need to put in some extra time, right? But as long as you have a good support system, and that support system might even be just somebody that encourages you, not necessarily the person is helping you do the work, but the
Yeah.
person was saying, ginger, just giving you that ginger
That
and motivation.
ginger.
So you can do it. A lot of women have done it in the past, right? If I look back, there are a few things I want to change. My kids hold me accountable, right? They will come and seize my charger and say, you've been working, you've not done this, you've not done that. So for me, I just don't make decisions based on myself alone. I carry my kids along because you know these Canadian children. So I try to
Tell me about it.
I also give them some work to do so that they also understand that, well, I'm not just for me busy, I'm busy, right? So if there are any little activities that are age appropriate for them, so you can do it. You can still have that beautiful home you want. You can still pursue your beautiful career. Now, if you feel like, oh, maybe your husband will not let you do something, as I said, transparency goes a long way, right? What you need to think of is when you're presenting that case to whoever you need to present it, you must have come up with, first of all, anticipate some of the questions, come up with the answers in advance, and even add extra. So as the person is saying, what of this? And you're already saying, okay, I've already thought about that. This is how I'm going to do it, right? So once you do all of that and you're ready to do the work, for sure, you can have it all. And the good thing is, as you know, a lot of organizations in this world, they are very big on DEI, right? They want women on their team. They want Black women on their team. So, and you're an immigrant, right? There's so many opportunities that Ontario has provided for us. So please leverage on all of these things and achieve whatever you set out to achieve. No, you're never too old or you're never too young to start something. As long as it's something that interests you, it's something you're passionate about, I mean, please work towards it. And I wish you all the very best as you try to transition into cybersecurity.
Yes, you have to have that last part. Very, very important. Thank you so much for your time, Fola. It's been very, interesting speaking with you. I didn't know what to expect. I came to this session with an open mind. I believe I've heard more acronyms in just this session alone. Like I've but I know those are acronyms that are very important and vital to those who are going to watch the show later. So thank you so much, Fola. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful weekend and, of course, an amazing rest of your days. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Esther, for having me. Have a great weekend as well.
You too. Have a good one. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for